I recently did a few videos about the Mini 4K, describing it as the most affordable DJI model for videography and photography. Several users have asked me to compare this model to the newly released DJI Neo. In this video I will explain why, in my opinion, the DJI Neo is not a direct competitor of the Mini 4K, as it targets different categories of users. The DJI Neo is very competitively priced and sells for about $200 or euros in the basic version, versus about $300 for the Mini 4K. You will find the prices for the different configuration and in the various countries in the description of this video. The basic version has no remote controller or other devices to control Neo's flight. It operates autonomously, a new concept for DJI models. Using AI tracking capabilities, the Neo takes off from the palm and recognizes the operator. In the default mode, it follows the target from behind at a close distance. By pressing the button on top of the aircraft, we can choose other flying modes besides follow. Drone to fly away and upward. Circle to orbit around the operator. Rocket to fly straight up. Spotlight with the drone hovering and rotating to follow the operator's movement. The next option is Custom, which can be set to 3 modes: Helix, Boomerang, and Direction Tracks, to follow the target from the front, which is much more interesting than from behind. Custom mode requires the use of an app with a smartphone or tablet. With the app it is also possible to modify some parameters, like the distance of the quick shots. However, the maximum distance is limited to 10 meters, which is not enough for landscape videography. When the drone is used without a controller, the maximum speed is around 21 km per hour, so it can only follow a car or a bicycle at moderate speed. But this is not an issue when following someone walking and talking. The app can simulate the action of the 2 sticks of the remote controllers, but the resulting moves could be smoother. They are not really suitable for cinematic movements. The maximum distance from the operator is limited to 50 meters. Manual exposure control is not available, leading to annoying shift of luminosity. Without a controller, the Neo is not optimized for videography or photography. It seems to be designed for vlogging. The mode Direction Track and Spotlight are particularly useful for following a person talking and moving from close range, without having to hand-hold a camera. Some of the quick shots can also be used for the same purpose. The Neo is not equipped with obstacle avoidance sensors, so it should be used only in areas free of obstacles. The aircraft is equipped with propeller guards, which protect the body and the lens from crashes at low speed. But extra care is needed, as it might fall into water, bushes, or other spots where it would be impossible to retrieve it. It can be an excellent choice for vloggers who use a handheld small camera in urban situations and want an aerial tool to be used in rural areas free of obstacles. The DJI Neo can be an excellent choice for vloggers who use a handheld camera in urban situations and want an aerial tool to be used in rural areas without obstacles. It is also suitable for indoor flying, thanks to the protection of the propeller guards. It is possible to control the Neo using different tools. I will analyze the traditional remote controllers for videography later on. The Neo can be used with the Goggle 3 paired with either the RC Motion 3 or the FPV Remote Controller 3. For an XPV experience, including the exciting easy acro moves introduced with the Avata 2. The same limitation due to the lack of obstacle sensors apply, but the Neo can be a very affordable introduction to the joy of FPV flying. The Neo can be used with the new RC-N3 controller. It enables all the traditional settings for videography and photography of DJI Fly app. When using a controller, the Neo has the same features as the Mini 4K, including manual exposure, automatic return to home, scene, normal and sport speed mode, and OcuSync for video transmission. Despite the lack of obstacle sensors, the Neo features the three intelligent flight modes of focus track: active track, spotlight, and point of interest. This is due to the ability to recognize and keep track of a target through artificial intelligence. It is a massive plus compared to the Mini 4K. After buying the controller, the price of the Neo is practically the same as the Mini 4K. It is also compatible with the RC-N2 and RC2. This is interesting for users who already own another current DJI prosumer drone. The sensor size is half an inch. The field of view is equivalent to 14 mm, much wider than any other DJI model. The aperture is fixed at f2.8 and the maximum bitrate is 75 Mbps. The extremely wide field of view suggests that the Neo is optimized for close-range vlogging rather than landscape videography. I cannot show footage made with the Neo as I haven't received my unit yet, but I have tested some friends' units and analyzed plenty of videos about it. My first impression is that the quality of the footage is not to the level of the Mini 4K. The images are over-sharpened and look a bit plasticky. The dynamic range is limited with dark shadows and harsh highlights. There are nasty flares when the sun is near the frame, and the results in low light are poor. I believe that the image processor and the software platform are not up to the level of the Mini 4K and other DJI lightweight models. However, I will analyze the video quality in depth once my unit arrives. The weight is only 135 grams versus 250 for the Mini 4K. This is great for portability, but the announced wind resistance is only 28 km per hour, level 4, versus 36 level 5 for the Mini 4K. This is not really an issue when flying close to the target near the ground for vlogging, but landscape video should only be performed in very low winds. Unlike the other DJI lightweight models, the gimbal is not a 3-axis one with tilt, roll and pan. The Neo has a single-axis one with correction of the footage done by a software called Rocksteady and by horizontal balancing stabilization. The system works well at close range near the ground, but at higher altitudes the image can be shaky, even in moderate winds. The maximum flying time is announced at 18 minutes, too short for videography, against 31 for the Mini 4K. The Neo is the only DJI prosumer drone without an SD card slot. Footage and photos can only be recorded in the internal memory, with a relatively generous storage size of 22 GB. This is another serious limitation for videography. With any other model it is possible to carry a couple of 64 GB SD card for several hours of video shooting on location, while the Neo is limited to less than an hour. There is also the inconvenience of having to transfer the file content of the external memory to a PC or smartphone after each flight to have full storage for the next outing. Photos can only be saved in JPEG format. This is an indication that photography has not been considered a priority, as the RAW format is an absolute must for drone photos. The Neo is an innovative product targeting two specific niches. The first one is vlogging at a close distance and low altitude for social media in rural environments without obstacles. It can also be appealing as an introduction to FPV mode at an affordable price, even though a specialized controller and maybe a pair of goggles must be purchased. Regarding video and photos, it cannot really compete with the Mini 4K, which can be purchased for a similar price if we include the remote controller for the Neo. However, videography and photography are not the main priority of this drone's design. This is the first generation of an interesting concept, and we can assume that some improvements will come from firmware updates. Maybe we'll soon see a Pro version with obstacle avoidance sensors, a slot for an SD card, and improved wind resistance. Click on this link to watch my video about the video quality of the Mini 4K. And don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video interesting. Thank you.